Here.
Hello, everybody. So, this is Louise White, who I've had the honor of interviewing for magazines and online newspapers on several occasions. Louise has created some of the most incredible, cute, innovative children's toys, and today she's brought a couple to show off to us. So, Louise, how did you initially figure out that you wanted to become a toy designer, and then how did you go about breaking into the industry?
So I was always a very creative person. When I was growing up, everything I did kind of went back to little faces and making little cartoons. And so growing up, I said to my dad and my mom, I want to be an artist. And so my dad basically said, no. So being stubborn that I am, I figured out a way. So when I was at college, I found toy design was a perfect balance where it was a profession and not just fine art. So it was kind of a combination of the two. And it gave me the perfect opportunity to be creative, but also have, a real career path.
And what was the first toy you got on the market, and how did you find the company to produce that toy?
So actually, my first design job was in Six Flags, Great Adventure. So basically, I would do signs and things like that, and it was a lot of fun. I opened a toy book, and I looked at my stuffed animals and looked at the tags, and I actually just called up, A through Z, until I finally got a freelance job in Manhattan. So I worked at Prestige Toy was my first design job, and I learned how to do plush. My second one was plastics, and actually after those two, I became a freelancer, and I've been a freelancer ever since.
That's wonderful. And a lot of your toys here, like for example, we have this barber in the tub set, which is centered on things like combing hair and being basically in a barber shop. And then this adorable little set here is based on groceries. So your toys seem to center on, everyday life type of themes. And where do you get some of your ideas from? And where specifically did the ideas for these two toys come from?
Well, I always think that parents make the best inventors when it comes to children products. I didn't intend on being a baby and toddler designer, toy designer, but it just happened to be that. So a lot of times, it's observing your kids, observing other people's kids. This particular toy is interesting, and this came out recently. So my son, who's now 11, used to be freaked out by haircuts. I think he got a bad haircut or whatever, and went to barber to barber to barber. And I think it was the sensation of the back of his neck, and he just couldn't deal with it. So later on, I came up with this product that I figured, you know what? Why not make a toy that is wind up so it can go in the bath so it's not unsafe, but it gives them the sensation of a haircut. So when they actually go, it's not foreign to them. My parents have a special ed preschool, so I always had that in mind, kids that are regular ed, kids that are special ed, but all kids have quirks and all kids have things that they don't like. So trying to find that balance of them, getting used to everyday things. So, for example, this toy is to help kids make healthy choices, because all kids, and I have 3, so I know, they love junk food. So why not have something where...
I don't know about junk food.
No, not at all.
We don't introduce that yet.
But, it's hard, kids go to school and they see those kind of things. So it's trying to foster really good habits early on. So in my worldview and the way I design, it's how do I think like a child, but also think like a parent.
And you do such a great job. Like I'm just holding this one up. It's so cute. It's got a little smiley face, and it's got these lovely leaves. It's a head of lettuce, but it crinkles, so it has like a rattle effect that must really appeal to children. So how long did it take to get the design, and get the materials? Did you deal with that, or did the company deal with that?
So a lot of times what I do is I come up with a concept, and every company's different. So some companies want me to come come up with everything from A to Z, and sometimes companies will say, you know what, we'll take it from there. So what I'll do is I'll design it.
You distribute also, or you just make it for them?
So I basically license my products. I come up, with an agreement, and they will do the rest. That's how I usually advise people that come to me. I have a lot of people that come to me, hey, I have an idea, and I give them advice and say, before you start investing tons of money, and it can get very costly, I basically tell them, slow down, think of your concept, do research, and connect with a real toy designer.
How do you deal with Chinese manufacturers who steal ideas? Like, let's say you have a great product that sells in millions. A few weeks later, a Chinese manufacturer will do pretty much the same, if not better, and sell it for a fraction of a cost.
So
you have a legal team to protect you?
So unfortunately, all the patents in the world are not going to help. And any company knows that. I mean, unless you're willing to spend a ton of money to protect it. But I guess for myself personally, what I do is I just keep coming up with good ideas.
So you're just faster than
Yes.
by the time they copy, you're already on the next one.
Technology and everything changes. I mean, I'm a good toy designer, an inventor, because I have a lot of ideas. So if they're just going to keep copying, they're just going to be stuck in the past. I just have to keep looking,
So you're
what's
just
the next?
grabbing the first wave of folks and letting them capitalize on the rest of the market.
Absolutely. I do work with Asian companies, and I don't, a lot of companies are really legitimate, and they want to be creative. I know that it sounds like everybody's copying, and that is, but it's not always the
Licensing,
case.
It's a fraction of the market. You basically leaving 99% to the industry, and you're getting very tiny percentage. Versus like if you have your own partnership in distribution and production, you would make substantially more.
Well, there is that, I mean, I do go back and forth with, should I create my own, but with that comes a bigger headache, because let's say there's a recall, or let's say there's a problem. So it's kind of the
You know,
safer
it's a
way.
trade-off.
As artists, you're more interested just make the next one rather than be in the business of selling toys, like Toys R Us. Which is a little bit out of business for a few times already.
I think Toys R Us is gonna find its way back. I think it's just more of
a
a
third bankruptcy within such a short period of time. Other companies during the same period of time thrive, like Amazon. So obviously they're doing something.
it's a
Major industry. Remember Toys.com? That was a big deal. Gone.
I think that companies have to change with the times. We used to go to the mail post office, and now everything's email. So now the post office has to figure out, how do we capitalize? So I think Toys R Us does have online, and they do website, but it's, I guess, strategic partners that they have to come. But again, they're too big to fail. I know that doesn't necessarily sound good, but they have a lot.
A couple of times already.
You know what?
As
We all
bankruptcy.
do. We all do at times, and
What's
it's
the-
just getting up and moving forward.
Next question. As a toy designer, what do you think is the future for the toy industry in the next 10, 20, 30 years? How do you think this will change?
And how we were just talking about this actually off camera, where you were stating that the toy industry has actually become, you feel, a little bit more open in the last couple of years. So can you
Oh,
tell us a little
absolutely.
bit about that? Like
I definitely.
how it looks now versus like the future.
So, for me as a personal toy designer, I have to figure out, and that's what I've been doing, is I've been figuring out, how can I use that toy concept and maybe put it into other industries. So one of the partners I work with, we're working with amusement park concession stand. So I do a little toy kind of thing, but it's not necessarily the same toy. But I think that there needs to be a little bit more crossover. The bottom line is, everyone's going to have kids. As much as we have technology, as much as everybody loves to give their kid an iPad or whatever, there's nothing like holding and feeling and teething. And I don't think the infant industry is going to go anywhere, because you can't,
Exactly.
a little baby is not going to be able to hold an iPad.
There's something special about toys you can hold and like
Right.
play with. Like, I think that's why play sets remain so
Do you
popular.
think
even.
that toy industry becomes customized when everybody will be a designer and they would be able to design their own toys for their own children? when everything becomes easier nowadays. Like before publishing, you had to go to publisher. Now it's self-publishing. Now before a lot of things you would have, let's say music industry, you have to go to studios, and nowadays you can have software, you can record at home, you can make your own music, you can sell it. So do you think that this will become more open for the public in the future?
I mean, I think it has. There are some. I think FAO Schwartz, which by the way is coming back, they used to have a thing where you could design your own and make your own toy. I mean, they do have those things.
And 3D modeling, of course. Now you can pop
But
to
there is a cost to that. I mean, in order to make a 3D, you have to have a real drawing that actually makes the 3D part. I mean, it's open, but it's not. And I think that at the end of the day, people have jobs and lives, and they don't have time to do everything. And plus, they count on people like me to do the research on what's the safest and what's the next trend.
And some people like you are just naturally creative anyway and can come up with things that other people wouldn't have come up with. So I think for that reason, there's always, no matter how customized it gets, I think that there's always going to be an avenue. If somebody has a great toy, other people will be like, oh, look, that's great. I want to buy that. So I think that there'll always be an avenue as long as you have the creativity.
So yes, so somebody comes over to me and says, I have this great idea, and I look at it, is a great idea, but X, Y, and Z. So I have the experience to help them guide to make it better. But look, everybody has a camera on their cell phone, and trust me, I have friends that are fantastic photographers. Their iPhone images do not look like mine. Theirs are way better. So there is a degree of talent and experience that comes along with it.
So what are you working on right now? I know that there might be some things in the works that you can't mention, but what are some of the things that you can talk about that we can look forward to in the future from you?
So I have several. Okay, so what we were discussing before was that I think that as much as technology evolves, it's all about the basics. And I think that I create all types of products that are very complex with a lot of engineering, and then I have products that really don't, but it captures that awe factor. And I think that the 3 toys that I have coming out are all simple and capture that basic innocence.
Kind of like these.
Yes,
very
I mean,
successful.
I think, I have to come up with the next, VTech or the next Fisher Price. But the truth is, sometimes there's just that.
Less is more.
Less is more, and also cost-wise. I mean, the economy is definitely getting better and stronger, and I think that people are willing to take risks. I went from, let's say, a year ago, everybody's just repackaging and dusting off the old stuff. Now people are like taking risks.
Yeah.
And so I find that people are reaching out and willing to invest, but the economy, people don't have that money in their account just yet.
Yes.
So they don't want to invest in heavy molds or things that are
These are just, I mean, like as you said, like with the twist, like you see a lot of toys out there that are, like food toys, like for example, like food and like groceries, but these have a little twist because they're soft, they're cute, they have that, rattle effect, so it's perfect for that young age group. So, and then this is really unique. So I think that you just create some of the most fantastic toys. It was really an honor to
Thank you.
interview you so many times.
Maybe audience will have questions for our toy designer. And if you can write the comments and reach out, we would love to have you back.
Absolutely, and
again and again. If
Absolutely, I'd love to.
I would love to make maybe a constant series about the toys that's new coming.
Absolutely.
And the stories about toys. I'm pretty sure it's maybe interesting topic.
And I
that
will
we can
be
film.
featuring
I'd love
Louise
to.
White on the Consensa blog within the next month, and then hopefully include this video right there in the blog. So look out for that as well.
How people can reach out to you if they want to hire you, let's say.
So my website is www.mefirst, designs, DESIGNS.com, and all my information is on that website.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you. It was lovely to have you. And it is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. So
Happy
before you
Valentine's.
leave, feel free to
Yes.
take a little heart as a token
I
of
will.
our
Thank you very
appreciation for
much.
being our guest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay hold.